afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to McNichols Arena for the 34th Annual NBA All-Star Game. Now let's meet the East All-Stars. At forward from the New York Knicks, making his second All-Star appearance, number 30, Bernard King. At guard from the New Jersey Nets, making his fourth All-Star appearance, number 10, Otis Birdsong. A forward center from the Washington Bullets, appearing in his very first All-Star game, number 43, Jeff Ruland. At forward from the Detroit Pistons, making his second All-Star appearance, number 7, Kelly Tripucka. At center, also from the Detroit Pistons, the NBA's second leading rebounder, who's replacing the top vote getter in this year's balloting, Moses Malone of Philadelphia, who's injured, number 40, Bill Laimbeer. At guard from the world champion Philadelphia 76ers, making his second All-Star appearance, number 22, Andrew Toney. A forward center from the Boston Celtics, making his first All-Star appearance, number 32, Kevin McHale. And now the starters for the East All-Stars. At guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, appearing in his third consecutive All-Star game, number 4, Sidney Moncrief. At the other guard from the Detroit Pistons, also appearing in his third consecutive game, his first start, number 11, Isaiah Thomas. At center from the Boston Celtics, appearing in his fourth consecutive All-Star game, number 00, Robert Parrish. At forward from the Boston Celtics, the MVP of the 1982 All-Star game, number 33, Larry Bird. And at the other forward from the world champion Philadelphia 76ers, the MVP of last year's All-Star game, number 6, the Doctor, Julius Erving. The head coach of the East from the Boston Celtics, K.C. Jones. Assistant coaches Chris Ford and Jimmy Rogers from Boston, and the trainer from Indiana, David Craig. And now let's meet the West All-Stars. At forward from the Dallas Mavericks, appearing in his first All-Star game, number 24, Mark Aguirre. At guard from the Portland Trail Blazers, appearing in his second consecutive game, number 5, Jim Paxson. Also at guard from the Phoenix Suns, making his fifth All-Star appearance, number 6, Walter Davis. At guard from the Utah Jazz, appearing in his first All-Star game, number 14, Ricky Green. At center from the Seattle Supersonics, this is his sixth consecutive All-Star game, number 43, Jack Sikma. The only rookie in this year's All-Star game at center from the Houston Rockets, number 50, Ralph Sampson. At forward from the Denver Nuggets, the NBA's third leading scorer, number 55, Kiki Vandeweghe. And now the starters for the West. At guard from the San Antonio Spurs, making his eighth consecutive All-Star appearance, number 44, the Iceman, George Gervin. At the other guard from the Los Angeles Lakers, the NBA's assist leader, the Magic Man, number 32, Irvin Magic Johnson. At center from the Los Angeles Lakers, appearing in his 13th All-Star game, which ties the NBA record, number 33, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. At forward from the Utah Jazz, the NBA's leading scorer, number 4, Adrian Dantley. And at the other forward from the Denver Nuggets, making his third consecutive All-Star appearance, number 2, Alex English. The head coach of the West from the Utah Jazz is Frank Layden. His assistant coach is also from Utah, Phil Johnson and Scott Layden, and the trainer from the Denver Nuggets, the chopper, Bob Travellini. The honorary captains for the East, five-time All-Star, Wes Unseld. And for the West, the man who was voted the greatest basketball player of the first half century, George Mikan. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks the end of an era for the NBA. Larry O'Brien is retiring as commissioner after 8.5 years of service, during which the NBA has expanded to 23 teams and reached landmark collective bargaining and anti-drug agreements with the players. From now on, the NBA's World Championship Trophy will be the Larry O'Brien Trophy, a fitting tribute to an outstanding leader. So now let's give him a warm send-off to Larry O'Brien. And now, with our national anthem, let's join Motown recording artists, The Temptations.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
The 1984 NBA All-Star Game is sponsored by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Speed Stick Deodorant. The wide stick gives you the edge. Speed Stick Deodorant by Menon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton with Tom Heinsohn here, all set for the tip-off. Tommy, how do you look? What's the All-Star Game mean to you?
This is a players' game. It's like a jazz group being let loose from Lawrence Welk's orchestra, to tell you the truth. They're out here to jam today and play their own kind of music.
And that's what both coaches want to do. Frank Layden says we want to run the floor, dunk the ball, do exciting things. And Casey Jones says, I want a street game. That's what he wants. So, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the West in the white shirts. Number 33 jumps against Robert Parrish, controlled by the West. And a turnover off the top. Isaiah Thomas will be handling the ball when he's in there. It is still going to be East ball. Keep in mind, the East has won 4 consecutive games, and they can win an unprecedented 5th straight All-Star game today. Thomas feeding inside. Loose ball and a foul.
They want to run. There's no question both ball clubs will push it at each other, and they've got the best possible players in the NBA to do that. Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson, the middlemen, par supreme on the fast break.
George Gervin committed the foul, and one of the outstanding players at both ends of the court, Sidney Moncrief, who leads the Milwaukee Bucks in just about every category, including scoring over 22 a game, including rebounds at 6'4" guard. He was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. And Sidney Moncrief is the heart and soul of that Milwaukee team.
Sure is, and he adds so much by way of being a competitor. He does it all for the Bucks.
All right, Magic Johnson. He was out for 13 games with a broken finger. Lakers are glad to have him back, and we're glad to have him in the All-Star game. Kareem is outside now, working against the Doc, who's looking for a steal, but he got caught for a foul instead.
What makes this game so great, Dick, is the fact that when they come in here, there's not too many systems. They're left to their own individual inventions, and they love to play in this game, and you'll see some great matchups.
And we're going to talk about the individual players. No basket. The ball was interfered with on top of the cylinder, so there'll be no basket, and so Isaiah Thomas pushes it up for the East All-Star.
And does he push it up, Dick?
Moncrief loses it out of bounds. Isaiah Thomas was the youngest player ever to play in an All-Star game at age 23 years ago. This is his first start, and he's looked good in the first 2 appearances. Kareem, famed sky hook. Not that time. Parrish clears. Here's Isaiah. And he turned it over, but he made a pretty good behind-the-back move before he did.
Well, I'll tell you, they're a little anxious right now. They all want to get together and to try that, find the proper balance of music. They're going at each other pretty heavy right now. The tempo very, very quick.
Adrian Dantley, or Alex English, that is, with a reverse layoff. So Denver Nugget scores the first basket for the West All-Stars. Julius Erving. And now here comes the Iceman. English, one of the prolific scorers in the NBA. And Magic Johnson. Dantley loses the ball. Moncrief, it's going to be an East basket. Shades of the slam dunk championship of yesterday.
He made a house call.
Dr. J was the defending champion, and he went right down to the wire with Larry Nance of the Phoenix Suns. We are going to have highlights of the slam dunk championship coming up at halftime. Pat O'Brien, by the way, is the 3rd member of our team, and he is here at McNichols Arena, and we'll be hearing from him throughout the afternoon. In the meantime, we have a personal foul on Sidney Moncrief. Let's tell you who our officials are. Earl Strom and John Vanek are working the game, and Lee Jones is the alternate.
Great matchup to watch for this afternoon is Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas, man for man, pushing at each other as only they can.
Kareem missed the second shot after George Gervin missed outside. Here's Isaiah Thomas. Kareem, the rebound. Loses the ball. Sidney Moncrief
has that other off guard doing his thing, picking up the offensive rebound.
Adrian Dantley coming right back. Shooting is off in the early going. Here's Magic, loose ball. It is 6-2, the East leading with 9:38 to go in the first period. Robert Parrish against Kareem, and we all have a foul.
What they love to do in these games is get off and running quick. It takes them a little while to adjust to the tempo. A lot of them really haven't played fast basketball, some of these players. The coaches have slowed down systems, so they're all trying to get into the rhythm of the game.
Kareem commits the foul. Larry Bird missed, and Thomas fighting inside. You'll notice Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is not wearing his goggles. Well, for the second time in 3 years, he has forgotten his goggles from the hotel room. So Kareem is just going to have to go without him, or maybe someone will get him for him. But right now he's playing without him.
Send for a cab.
4-point lead.
When they don't have the break, they're going to try and go inside.
Dantley. Feed from Magic Johnson.
Well, they were so intent on trying to deny the ball to Jabbar and let Dantley sneak right in there.
Bird is guarded by Alex English. Parrish, he has got a good outside shot.
Pushing now.
Gervin the rebound. Watch the ball. The West didn't know the ball was on the outlet. Here's the alley-oop to Julius Erving.
That's why they love to play together in the All-Star game, to make things like that happen.
How tough is it after just one practice session to really tune in together like that?
Oh, it's very difficult. You really just have in your mind the way these guys play. You got to go out there and execute it on the floor. It takes a little while to get into it.
Parrish the rebound. The shooting has been less than satisfactory, but not for Julius Erving, who has his 3rd basket of the ball game, and he is putting on an open court show. Steal by the Doctor, and another basket.
But the tempo of this thing is just so quick.
English, and a foul at the other end.
It is up and down and up and down. And let's watch Julius's steal right here. And up it comes. And beautiful reverse layup but they are heads up to play aggressive offense and aggressive defense. The reason that they love to fast break is because there's so much more creativity involved in a fast break than the slow down systems of play.
Alex English, the NBA's top scorer last year. With a free throw, it's 12-7 in favor of the East. Larry Bird, and that looked like they've been working on that for a week.
Little up pick, and Isaiah with the creative pass made it happen.
We have a timeout. 8:04 remaining in the first period. The East, and Frank Layden is trying to break the losing streak. Let's watch that last pass.
Little up pick you'll see, and Isaiah heads up to make it happen. Watch the bounce pass through the defense. Beautiful.
That's why people are saying Isaiah Thomas not only is going to be one of the great point guards of the NBA, one of the great personalities. You saw his smile at the top of our program. We'll be back. Julius Erving has 8 of the East, 14 points. English 5 of the West, 7. And Pat O'Brien is with John Havlicek. Pat?
Thank you, Dick. John Havlicek, arguably the best sixth man in the business. When you see these guys, the Birds, the Johnsons, do you see the same enthusiasm you had out there?
Well, they certainly do have a lot of enthusiasm. I think the guy that really has displayed it the most is Isaiah. He's going up and down the floor with a smile, and he's making great passes. And, of course, when you have dunks, it always brings a great deal of excitement.
Okay, Hondo, thank you. Back to Dick.
Thank you, Pat. The West has turned the ball over 7 times in the first 4 minutes. The shooting has been down, and this game picking up, as we saw right before the timeout. End-to-end action. Magic Johnson guarded by Isaiah Thomas into the big guy, Kareem. Skyhook. But the rebound by Magic Johnson at the other end.
Well, that's a tough matchup for Isaiah to block Magic, who's one of the best rebounding forwards, let alone guards.
Now, come on. He's been up around 10 rebounds a game. He's a 6'9" point guard who can play 5 positions. Moncrief gets it in the middle. Quick pass, Julius. Bird, he's tough here. But it falls off. Isaiah Thomas with a fake on Magic Johnson. They weren't ready for that pass, and Adrian Dantley gets it out to Magic Johnson. Kareem, easy one for the big guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is second leading scorer all time to Wilt Chamberlain. And if he averages 20.4 points a game the rest of the year, he'll break Wilt Chamberlain's all-time scoring record. Bird gets free.
Isaiah having a ball, trying to find Larry Bird, who moves so well without the ball.
Isaiah Thomas is a show unto himself so far in this ball game. Alex English. They got scorers, don't they, Tommy, the West team?
That's why they're here, Dick. They all can stick it in the hoop, and they've got varied other skills.
Parrish coming into the flow. Look how he moves for a big man. That's a 7-footer, and you talk about Ralph Sampson's ability to shoot from the perimeter and handle the ball. Robert Parrish shows a little bit. Here's Adrian Dantley, not this time.
I'll tell you, Robert Parrish and some of these other big guys you'll see in this game can really get it up and down the court, and that's even going to help the pace of the game more.
Thomas, he had the layup, and he's shaking his head. He knows he should have had this one. Magic.
Little French pastry there.
Bird to Moncrief, who challenges George Gervin, tipped in by Julius. And 10 points for Julius Erving. He has 10 of the East 20 points and a 7-point lead. Magic slows it up a little bit now, but not for long. Gervin in the lane, basket counts, and a foul. What a pretty move by George Gervin, who has been a scoring champion for 4 straight years. But Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, here's Bird.
Now watch this pass. Length of the court, Moncrief heading for the hoop, and he misses it, but guess who's there? The surgeon, Dr. J.
Julius Erving, so Erving with 10 points in the ball game. And here's our first substitution, Andrew Toney. Deadly offensive scorer, averaging over 20 points a game. He can beat you outside, drive to the hoop. He comes into the ball game, and he replaces Sidney Moncrief.
I like Andrew Toney. He has expanded his skills from the first time he stepped onto an NBA court to right now he's a bona fide all-star.
Moncrief goes out with 2 personal fouls and 4 points. Toney goes inside. That's the quickness he has. The balls are just not dropping for a lot of players so far in this game. Long shot by the Iceman, George Gervin.
He's starting to heat up.
This is his 8th All-Star game in a row. He was the MVP 4 years ago. And now we have a foul against the West. And it'll be against Adrian Dantley.
When you have Dr. J really moving with rhythm, you've got a man-sized task trying to stop him.
Casey Jones, your former teammate, and he was the winning coach in 1975.
A great guy, and he deserves to be in this game coaching it. It's been the rebirth of Casey Jones as a head coach with the Boston Celtics.
Parrish with another shot from outside. You get a center that can hit the outside shot and also do the job inside. Well, the Celtics have the best record in the NBA. That says enough. Into Kareem. And it goes in. Let's see who gets credit for the basket.
When you think of
Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar, you think of the sky hook.
Julius, what a move inside. Oh, Parrish, foul. Julius almost had a blind, spectacular 360-degree shot. He has, along with Thomas, been a great show.
We're going to see this once more. Watch him take it to the hook, spin beautifully off it. Really gets contained. You can't see it as Jabbar tries to stop it. He flips it up there, and I'll be if it almost doesn't go in. Parrish on the rebound gets fouled, but you are seeing some real inventiveness by Dr. J.
Substitutions, Kiki Vandeweghe, who is having a terrific scoring year for the Denver Nuggets, averaging 29 points a game in his third year, and Jeff Ruland is in the game. There he is, one of the burly strongmen of the league. He's among NBA leaders in 3 areas. Kareem backs it in. It's a close game. The East had an 8-point lead at one time, and now their lead is shaved to 1, 23-22, 4:40 remaining in the first period. Dick Stockton, Tom Heinsohn here at Denver, Colorado. Julius flips it in and over the head of Robert Parrish.
You know, the East has got a lot more movement in their set offense than the West has right now, as we see.
Bernard King coming in for the East from the New York Knickerbockers, replacing Julius Erving, who goes out with 10, and Jack Sikma, who's bringing the Seattle Sonics back in the Pacific Division, comes into the game, and they have a lot of height in there with Kareem and Sikma at the same time.
You know, Bernard King might really be a factor in this ball game to look at, because he's being turned loose, and I always considered him a great fast break player.
Gervin, the last time, got the basket. Andrew Toney comes down. So now we're going to see some shooting, which we have not seen in the early moments of this ball game. Gervin one end, Toney the other. Sikma has a good shot. And Parrish gets the rebound. The West leading, led 24-23, their first lead. The East took over the lead. Now the West with Magic Johnson in the crowd. Kiki Vandeweghe. They're going to love any Denver achievement here today by English or Vandeweghe, that's for sure.
Yep, guess where they're from? Denver.
Bernard King coming off the screen. Parrish keeps it alive for the East All-Stars. 7 rebounds for Robert Parrish. And Andrew Toney. Magic Johnson.
Oh, they love that. Look at that move. Wow.
He's fouled going in. And coming in now. Substitutions. Magic got hit in the eye. Isaiah Thomas, they're good friends. But coming into the ball game now, Kevin McHale for the East. He's the 6th man of the Boston Celtics. And Ralph Sampson, the only rookie in the game from Houston, number 50, who hit a 50-foot shot against the Boston Celtics earlier this year. Walter Davis, number 6, comes into the backcourt. There's Ralph Sampson. And it's got to be a thrill to play this game as a rookie.
And I'll tell you something. He's my pick for the surprise MVP. I think that he really wants to make himself known on the pro level, and where better to do it than right here in the All-Star game. You know, the people said he's been hot and cold, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised today if you saw some spectacular games or a game from Ralph Sampson.
Well, you know that the Rockets already have won more games this year than they did last year, so Ralph Sampson has paid dividends. The West, trailing most of this first period, have a 3-point lead. 28-25. We have 3:17 remaining in the first period, and we'll be back. One of the great stories of the NBA this year, Frank Layden, one of the real funny men of the NBA, and the Utah Jazz, with the best record in the Western Conference coaching. He said, I told my players, make believe this is going to be the last All-Star game you ever play. I know this will be the last one I ever coach.
Well, I'll tell you, Frank Layden is a great guy, funny man, as you said, and just signed to a 10-year contract as general manager and coach by the Jazz. That's how much they appreciate him in the Big Sky country.
And today is Frank Layden Day in Buffalo, where he went to school at Niagara and coached Calvin Murphy in Niagara. Turnover, And Sikma stepped on the line.
One of the problems the East is going to have right now, Dick, is Robert Parrish, their only bona fide real running center. And he's going to, somebody right now, Ruland or McHale is going to have to try and stay with Ralph Sampson.
Ruland inside uses his strength and bulk effectively. And the West.
Ruland, brawn, and brains in action.
Sikma at the baseline. McHale plays it well. Vandeweghe was looking for a foul. Ruland the rebound. And it's picked off by Davis. Here's Magic Johnson, who has 8 assists in the ball game. He gets a basket. Keep in mind that last year, Johnson set an all-star record with 16 assists. He is halfway there right now, and we still have 2.5 minutes remaining in the first period. Knocked away. It is still going to be East ball. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at McNichols Arena in Denver. 2:26 to go in the first period. The West lead 30-27 here in the 34th annual All-Star Game. How many were you in?
To tell you the truth, I don't remember, Dick. It was either 5 or 6, but I enjoyed each and every one of them thoroughly. I did coach a few, and I know what guys like Casey Jones and Frank Layden are trying to do right now. They're trying to showcase everybody, make sure that they all get their just due, and still make this a very competitive game.
I want to remind you that Moses Malone is not here. He topped a record number of votes with 927,000 votes to be the Eastern Center. He is the NBA's MVP of last year, has a sprained ankle. Bill Laimbeer replaced him on the roster, and Robert Parrish got the nod to start by Casey Jones, and a record number of 2.5 million people voted. The fans, of course, voted for the starters. There's Ricky Green, a rags to riches story. Couldn't fit in with any club, played in the Continental League, which is the minor league, and has starred this year for Utah. Otis Birdsong from the New Jersey Nets with a good move to the hoop. It's stuffed through by Kevin McHale.
To follow up on that Ricky Green thing, he's really a tribute to Frank Layden's patience.
He was a great star at the University of Michigan. Walter Davis hits from outside. Walter Davis of the Phoenix Suns. Under 2 minutes to go now in the first period. The West leading by 3. The East had an 8-point lead early in the game when both teams were cold from the field. Bernard King in the lane. Goaltending against Ralph Sampson. Give the basket to Bernard King.
But he was ready to sneak right back in there and protect that hoop. He'll get more than a few shot blocks in this game, Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson, baseline. What a move. That's a tough shot from the baseline.
It sure is, but who's going to stop a 7'4" guy?
Sampson coming out for the moment to meet Tony. McHale. Bernard King quickly turning around. And Ralph Sampson the rebound to Vandeweghe. So far, in a couple of plays, Sampson, they want to make you look good.
He's looked pretty good, but he's not running like I thought he might do in this game.
Basket counts and a foul.
And how's that for a move? 7'4". He was playing like he was 6'5".
A 7-footer. This is not an easy thing.
Watch him take it to the hoop. Takes the blow by McHale on the way down. And it's pretty far on the way down for a 7'4" guy. Still connects.
McHale with the foul. 37-31, the West. With the biggest lead now for them. The East had an 8-point lead early. We have 1:10 to go in the first period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn reporting. McHale outside. Sikma the rebound.
And look at Ricky Green.
All the way for Ricky Green. Feeding Sampson. Forget it. And a foul.
That's one of the reasons why I thought Sampson might be absolutely fantastic in this game, because of the likes of Ricky Green and Magic Johnson dishing it off after they made the penetration. And watch the big guy cram it.
Ricky Green leads the NBA in steals. Last year he was second in assists. Turnover, gives it right back now to the West.
Ruland having his problem with the outlet passes to try and get the East back in their style of fast break.
And Ralph Sampson, your sleeper for an MVP pick, has scored 7 straight points for the West. Leading by 8 points, and now they turn it over. So the West turning it over to the East with 50 seconds to go in the first period.
For those people that haven't seen Ralph Sampson, he gets it up and down the court, probably better than any center that has ever played the game.
Birdsong gets it into Ruland. Ruland and Sikma, a lot of beef there. McHale with a fake and a foul. Good play by Kevin McHale. And the foul is on Ralph Sampson. Kevin McHale is having a terrific season for the Boston Celtics, and one of the reasons why they have a 5-game lead over the Philadelphia 76ers right now.
When he first came into the NBA, he was probably one of the finest defenders that I ever saw come in as a rookie. Since then, he's added dramatically to the offensive part of his game to where he's become a true threat inside for the Celtics.
Of all the things he does, what's the best thing you think?
Defense, I really think. He may not think so right now, but he is a second intimidator for the Celtics along with Robert Parrish. It makes it awfully difficult to score inside against Boston.
Both teams in the penalty. So that's 2 shots, and of course, McHale was hit in the act of shooting, misses the second free throw. Here comes Ricky Green. Watch out from behind. Andrew Toney made a good play, knocking it away from behind. He's working against Green now. 27 seconds to go, and 18 on the 24-second shot clock in the period. Green, Toney. Toney strong. Can't let him hit the outside shot. Birdsong, good defense by Waller Davis. And Toney with 5 seconds on the shot clock, way off. Sigma the rebound, and a foul at the other end. So Otis Birdsong fouled Jack Sigma with 8 seconds to go, and he will shoot 2 with 8 seconds to go and a chance to put the West up by 9.
Well, Magic ignited this East team very early, kept the pressure. We thought Isaiah really did the same thing for the East team, but Magic Johnson was making his assists pay off. And right now, I think we're seeing the culmination that both units that have played so far are actually into the ball game and getting their rhythm with this fast break style.
They were rusty early, but they're not so much now. Some of the shots are off the mark. You wouldn't see it during the course of the regular season.
Well, one of the things that happens in a game like this, Dick, is the fact that without it being being able to be structured too much by the coaches, a lot of things happen that happen by accident. You're taking shots where normally you might not take the shot with your regular team, but they love to play it.
5 seconds to go. The West is up by 8. Andrew Toney trying to get free for a shot. And the block, it was a block, no foul, and that is the end of the first period of the 34th annual All-Star Game. The West leading the East 40-32. They're back in Denver, Colorado at McNichols Arena, the 34th annual All-Star Game. Over 17,000 fans here to see this game. Tom, you have talked about why this game is so interesting, and the players love it because they can run. They're unshackled, so to speak, and there are players in this game, like Bernard King and others, who play in different systems, and I think they look forward to this kind of setting.
Absolutely, and a guy like Bernard King plays for UB Brown, who's more structured in what he tries to do, doesn't turn the players loose. And they look forward probably to playing in this type of game because they can express themselves as an artist, as a true artist, as a great basketball player. They love it.
Bill Laimbeer, number 40, who was named to the team when Moses Malone couldn't play from the Detroit Pistons, is in there right now. And Jim Paxson, number 5 from Portland, is also in the ball game. Mark Aguirre, number 24 from Dallas. He's guarding Bernard King now. Paxson is on Birdsong. And here is Bernard King with a turnaround shot. He is so quick. This is his second All-Star game. Appeared with Golden State a couple of years ago. And a 6-point West lead.
His role has changed a little bit more to a defensive player, but when he gets in that low hole, nobody can stop Bernard King.
Turnover, Laimbeer picks it up. We're in the second period, opening minute. Andrew Toney, McHale. Sigma quickly picks him up. Loose ball, and King is held.
You know, surprisingly, the East is really going to Bernard King down there in that low hole to try and get some inside game going.
First personal foul on Jack Sigma, and the first team foul here in the second period. Ricky Green, steal. What a play by Ricky Green to Ralph Sampson. And Mark Aguirre to Ralph Sampson. Paxson. Paxson again. They did everything but score, and a steal by Ricky Green again. And the name of the game is to fill the hole, and they did everything but do that. Spectacular play, though. Toney looking for McHale. Sampson's tough target. Boy, Ricky Green is playing like a man possessed out there. McHale, good turnaround, and that was from 17 feet.
That is his best shot, that fall-away jumper, Kevin McHale. Here's a guy that's built like a tank, but moves like a ballerina.
Mark Aguirre, the first All-Star ever from the Dallas Mavericks, who are having a terrific year. Second place in the Midwest Division. Aguirre, look at Mark Aguirre. who's averaging 30 points a game, second to Adrian Dantley in the NBA scoring leadership. Bernard King comes back. Pace is picking up, Tommy.
It is, and Bernard King, you can see, loving to play this fast break style.
And here's Andrew Toney at the other end.
Well, it was Paxson. Paxson slipped
that's
by.
right. Paxson
right,
got
Andrew
by.
Toney.
You know, he's a guy who can move without the ball effectively, and he looked good in last year's game. McHale fouled by Ralph Sampson. Ricky Green making the most of his first All-Star appearance.
Sitting on the outlet pass, sneaks right in there with that great speed, and up. The only thing that happened is he didn't make the jump shot right here like you would have hoped that he'd do. And watch this one, goes onto the scorer's table. He has got super quickness. Everybody knew that, Ricky Green, when he first came into the pros, but he didn't have the outside shot. And it took a little patience by a coach like Frank Layden to put him in a system and give him his head to develop.
Ralph Sampson committed the foul. Here's Kelly Tripucka, also of the Detroit Pistons. They have 3 stars, Laimbeer, Tripucka, and Isaiah Thomas. He's an exciting player, and he's in the game now for the East squad. He's wearing number 7, but the West has the ball with Mark Aguirre, number 24. 5-point lead for the West with 9:52 to go in the first half. Aguirre to the hoop.
That's why he's so effective. He can hit that outside shot. You saw him hit the 20-footer, and then he takes it nicely to the hoop on a strong drive.
McHale misses. Bernard King battles. Bernard King is playing this game like it's the 7th game of a playoff. He is fouled by Jack Sikma.
The foul is on Jack Sikma.
Second personal foul for Jack Sikma. And 3 team fouls on the West, none for the East, and 9:40 remain in this second period. It's 46-39. The West is leading the East. Keep in mind, the East has won 4 in a row. No one has ever won 5 in a row in this All-Star game. Casey Jones hopes to set a record tonight. The biggest lead for the East was 8 points. The biggest lead for the West was 8, and it's 46-39 with 9:40 remaining in the second period here at McNichols Arena. Dick Stockton with Tom Heinsohn. And a couple of All-Stars, George Gervin and Alex English.
Well, I'm impressed the way the West have gotten their game together a lot quicker than the East. But one of the factors that the East is facing right now is that they're without the services of probably the most muscle center that would make a significant contribution in a game like this, Moses Malone.
Larry Bird comes back in the ball game. Talking about big centers, there's Ralph Sampson. And we are seeing Frank Layden go with Kareem and Sampson early, and now Sikma and Sampson. So Frank Layden, who earlier said, I may put all 3 of them in at the same time.
That's a lot of power up front. And the curly-headed guy, Jack Sikma, really tickles me. I mean, he plays it tough down there, and he's got one of those shots that nobody seems to be able to block, as we're looking at Bernard King, who, in my opinion, would be a super wingman on a fast break type of team, and yet has the intelligence to know how to play in a very structured system.
This is the second and a foul, loose ball foul. That's the second time that Sikma, he was hit by Kelly Tripucka. There's Paxson. He's one of the players who usually does have a good game. He did last year. Why is that?
Because he's playing with some creative passes, and anytime a guy keeps moving the way Paxson does to shake himself loose, that's what a passer looks for.
It's a good backcourt. Ricky Green who gets the pass, and Paxson coming back as King. Open court for Bernard King. Bernard King, and Mark Aguirre didn't see it because he was knocked over right near us.
And I didn't see Bernard King make the basket because McGuire was in my soft drink.
4-point lead now for the West. 9:10 remaining in the first half. Sikma and a foul. You don't normally see what we see in the NBA, which is double teaming the center inside. We call it double down, but we did there with the likes of Isaiah Thomas and Larry Bird on Jack Sikma, and we had a personal foul on Isaiah Thomas.
You might see a little bit of that against in the latter stages of the game because so many teams do that as normal part of their regular defense.
Tripucka.
There was Paxson getting free, like we talked about before, for that jump shot, only he missed it.
Larry Bird guarded by Paxson, and now Sikma there. They had a mismatch on defense, and trying to take advantage of it of the East, and there is a foul as well, and the personal foul is on Mark Aguirre.
You're going to see great passes like this all day long. Little lay-down pass to the cutter, Kelly Tripucka, and that's why scorers like to play in these games with the likes of Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Ricky Green, and Magic Johnson, who pass the ball so well.
Kelly Tripucka, they said he was too slow, didn't play much defense, but he hustles, plays with gusto. He was out 24 games with knee injury last year. He's been an all-star and leads the Pistons, averaging over 22.5 points a game. And it's now 46-43 with 8:45 remaining in the first half. The West leading after the East took the early lead. Paxson inside to Aguirre. Aguirre over King, and a foul. King was all over Mark Aguirre, and he was playing him well defensively, and Bernard's called for the foul.
Boy, Mark Aguirre, one of the reasons he's going to be a great, great player for the next several years is the fact he goes outside, he shoots over you, he drives by you if you try to stop that, and he also, with that big body of his, takes you down low and muscles you.
3 team fouls on the East. Mark Aguirre from DePaul. He was in Dick Motta's doghouse for a while down in Dallas, but he has blossomed as a star. I would say averaging over 30 a game, wouldn't you?
And he's going to be a star for a lot more years to come. And look who's back in here handling the ball.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Isaiah Thomas sparked the East early in the game. In fact, 3 Pistons are out there now and a turnover. Laimbeer, Tripucka, and Thomas, and that's not a bad idea.
Well, we just saw Ralph Sampson intimidate Tripucka on a layup.
Bird. And Laimbeer gets a piece of it. Tripucka can't save it. So
what Casey Jones is trying to do right now is play combinations of players that play together normally to see if they can get something going.
Well, the cheer is for Julius Erving, who's getting up from the bench. He has scored 10 points early in the ball game, and Alex English will also be coming in. Mark Aguirre with 8 points and is now the leading scorer for the West All-Stars. Traveling called the other way. And here comes Julius Erving. He is the leading scorer in the game, coming back in, 2-time MVP. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, still without the goggles, comes in for the Western All-Stars. And, of course, Alex English representing the Denver Nuggets.
I guess they couldn't find a cab.
They may be busy now. Jim Paxson, and that's what you're talking about, getting free for the open shot, Tom.
He does that as well as anybody. Reminds me of John Havlicek in that regard.
Isaiah Thomas loses it. Paxson to Green. I like those West guards in there right now, and Casey Jones wants to talk it over.
He doesn't want it to get out of hand. He wants to show everybody that it's still going and still play everybody and still not let the game get away.
And right now we have the biggest lead in the game for either side. The West All-Stars, 54-43, 7:38 remaining in the first half.
And coming up at the half today, you'll see the NBA Slam Dunk Competition. One of the major sideshows during the All-Star Weekend here in Denver, featuring double-barrel action like this. And we'll also show you some of basketball's great names of the past in the old-timers game. This is just some of the action. All that and more coming up at the half. Back to Dick.
Thank you very much, Pat. Glad to have you with us here on the NBA on CBS. 8 straight points for the West, their biggest lead in the ball game. And Frank Layden says, I want everyone to play equal amount of time. Every one of their 12 players have scored so far in the game, Tom.
Well, he's entering into it with a little bit different philosophy than Casey Jones. Casey Jones saying, hey, I want to really play most of the guys that were selected by the fans and still show the other guys who were selected by the coaches for a little bit.
All right, Isaiah Thomas and Sidney Moncrief are in there, along with Parrish, Erving, and Bird, the starting 5 for the East. Not so for the West. Parrish has hit his 3rd shot from outside. He has 7 points in the game. Erving with 10 and King 9 are the top scorers for the East. The West leading scorer is Mark Aguirre with 8 points. Ricky Green, he's looked good. Here's Aguirre. Bird on him. He's traveling. Bird played well. Came right up on him, Tommy.
Why, Larry Bird does so many great things, and one of the great things is that defense he just showed you.
Isaiah Thomas guarded by Ricky Green. That's a good matchup. So is Paxson and Moncrief. English and Julius Erving, and English got a piece of it. Ricky Green. Alex English wide open.
Alex knows how to fast break, and so does Ricky Green.
The doctor to Parrish. Over Kareem. You got to go really high over him. Well, maybe not so much for 7-foot Robert. Aguirre. Paxson from the Portland Trailblazers, who are challenging for real the Laker domination in the Pacific Division this year.
They sure are. The East now trying to slow it down and get a little more patent offense in there.
When did you think that was ever going to happen with these players? Biggest lead of the game now, 13 points. And another turnover. Aguirre. Ricky Green. Alex English. And the West is going wild here in Denver. English is 5 for 5, and his 11 points makes him the high scorer in the ballgame so far. Irving. 60-45, 15-point lead. And foul against the West. Walter Davis and Magic Johnson are heading back in the ballgame. There's Magic. The West is leading by 15, and then they bring Magic Johnson back in.
That's a pretty good fast break team you got right there on the bench. Ricky Green, who's used to doing that and doing it very, very well. And now Magic Johnson comes in, the super push-up man with the Lakers, who's got more than an average bunch of players to lay it off to. That's why he does so well assist-wise in these playoff, in these All-Star games. But right now, the East, Dick, is really having a problem just getting something going offensively. The fast break is not working, and their inside game that they're trying to capitalize isn't really coordinated because of the fact that they don't play together a lot.
They've been outscored 14-2, Tommy. Ricky Green committed a foul on Julius, who missed his first free throw and makes good on the second. So it's 60-46 with just under 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Magic Johnson guarded by Isaiah Thomas. They're very close, as Mark Aguirre. And a steal almost by Moncrief. And John Vanek says we'll take it back this way. It's going to be East, I think, and now Earl Strom changes his mind, and it's West ball and Casey Jones. About as mad as he ever gets, Tom?
I think it's a frown is the maddest he ever gets.
I never see him get angry.
Never.
Aguirre inside against Bird. Mark Aguirre with 10 points in the ball game, representing the Dallas Mavericks. He has not missed in 4 attempts today.
Well, the West generating some inside game with Mark Aguirre.
Bird. Larry Bird bombs away.
He has yet to really get his game going, Larry. Just a little bit on defense, but when he gets that offense going, watch out.
5:15 remaining in the first half. Kareem back to Magic, and Paris got a hand on it. Broke up the two Lakers from getting something going on a two-man situation. Sidney Moncrief. Thomas still alive for the Eastern All-Stars. And Julius Irving. What a play by the doctor.
An invention we just saw. A new way.
He is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, ambassador to the game of pro basketball, and there have been many good ones.
He's got the game, he's got the smile, he's got everything.
Walter Davis of Phoenix outside. And the points are coming now with 4:40 remaining in the first half. A 14-point lead for the West. Feed from Thomas inside Moncrief, and the two guards make it happen inside.
Isaiah loved to penetrate, get everybody looking at him, and then drop it off. He did it beautifully that time to Moncrief.
Two snappy guards out there. Isaiah Thomas and Sidney Moncrief, voted by the fans. $2.5 million in all. Foul. And Thomas got a hand on Kareem.
Isaiah Thomas making the passes only he can to Doc. Watch him invent this one. Gets knocked off balance. Nobody makes shots off balance better, I believe, than Dr. J.
Isaiah Thomas has 3 personal fouls in the ball game. That's more than anyone. He remains in the contest as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes to the line. Adrian Dantley, AD from Washington's DeMatha High School in Notre Dame, is into the ball game now. So Dantley, along with Walter Davis, Magic Johnson, Alex English, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bird, Thomas, Parrish, Irving, and Moncrief. Still the 5 who started the game in there for the East. So, like you said, Casey Jones going with his starters more than Frank Layden.
I think he probably wants to do that without the services of Moses Malone. He's going to stay with that first unit more.
Here's Walter Davis, the Greyhound. Open court, Magic Johnson passes to English. Back inside, Dantley looking for somebody. Magic Johnson behind his back. but the East picks it off, and a lead pass to Julius. Out of bounds.
Even Dr. J couldn't track that one down.
And Kiki Vandeweghe comes back in the ball game for the West. Big favorite here.
It's one nugget for another.
Alex English goes out of the game. English has scored 11 points. He is the leading scorer for the West. Mark Aguirre has 10, and the Doctor has 13 to lead everybody. Vandeweghe going against Bird inside. Look at Julius go high for the board. Out to Bird. To Thomas. Thomas said, I got to do something with the ball.
He thought he'd be able to lay it back to the trailer, but they played him for it.
And Kareem on the drive in the other end. And Magic Johnson found him, as he does so many times during the regular season for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Magic Johnson has 11 assists.
I would say that Magic Johnson wants the West to win.
He said so before the game. He told Pat O'Brien he's trying to make it happen. Remaining in the first half, a 14-point lead for the West. Feed from Thomas inside Moncrief, and the two guards make it happen inside.
Isaiah loved to penetrate, get everybody looking at him, and then drop it off. He did it beautifully that time to Moncrief.
Two snappy guards out there. Isaiah Thomas and Sidney Moncrief, voted by the fans. $2.5 million in all. Foul, and Thomas got a hand on Kareem.
Isaiah Thomas making the passes only he can to Doc. Watch him invent this one. Gets knocked off balance. Nobody makes shots off balance better, I believe, than Dr. J.
Isaiah Thomas has 3 personal fouls in the ball game. That's more than anyone. He remains in the contest as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar goes to the line. Adrian Dantley, AD from Washington's DeMatha High School at Notre Dame, is into the ball game now. So Dantley, along with Waller Davis, Magic Johnson, Alex English, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bird, Thomas, Parrish, Irving, and Moncrief. Still the 5 who started the game in there for the East. So, like you said, Casey Jones going with his starters more than Frank Layden.
I think he probably wants to do that without the services of Moses Malone. He's going to stay with that first unit more.
Here's Waller Davis, the Greyhound. Open court, Magic Johnson passes to English. Back inside, Dantley looking for somebody. Magic Johnson behind his back, but the East picks it off, and a lead pass to Julius. Out of bounds.
Even Dr. J couldn't track that one down.
And Kiki Vandeweghe comes back in the ball game for the West. Big favorite here.
It's one nugget for another.
Alex English goes out of the game. English has scored 11 points. He is the leading scorer for the West. Mark Aguirre has 10, and the Doctor has 13 to lead everybody. Vandeweghe going against Bird inside. Look at Julius go high for the board. Out to Bird. To Thomas. Thomas said, I got to do something with the ball.
He thought he'd be able to lay it back to the trailer, but they played him for it.
And Kareem on the drive in the other end. And Magic Johnson found him, as he does so many times during the regular season for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Magic Johnson has 11 assists.
I would say that Magic Johnson wants the West to win.
He said so before the game. He told Pat O'Brien he's trying to make it happen. WBC Super Lightweight champion Bruce Curry, who defeated Sugar Ray Leonard in the amateur ranks, puts his crown on the line today against undefeated Billy Costello. 16 knockouts amongst his 26-0 record. Women's World Speed Skating Championships and John Madden's Journeys, Tom.
Yes, and two guys that went in different directions, Bruce Seals and Sugar Ray Leonard, after their great Olympics in '76. Ray Seals, I'm sorry.
A couple of Sugar Rays, I guess you'd say.
Sugar Rays.
And men's giant slalom report coming up. Curry Costello. John Madden's Journeys, along with Women's World Speed Skating Championships, coming up next on CBS Sports Sunday. 68-52, the biggest lead in the ball game for the West All-Stars. The West has led since going ahead in the first period, 26-25. Julius Irving can't save the ball, and it is West ball.
Harold Andrews,
Well, that little set play didn't work for the East, and here comes Magic on the fly again.
Magic Johnson going inside. Parrish gets the rebound, knocked away, and a foul called against Kareem, I believe. Going for the loose ball. It is against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is the kind of game where we have two coaches, in Frank Layden and Casey Jones, who believe in the relaxed, low-key approach.
Yeah, and what Casey Jones and Frank Layden are known for more than anything else is communication with their players. And Frank Layden in particular, communicating with patience. Casey Jones, low-key, talks to his players on an individual basis, and really I don't think ever kind of lays them out with verbal abuse. And one of the reasons why they like to play for Casey Jones, the Boston Celtics.
Robert Parrish, who enjoys it, 8 points so far in the ball game. He has 9 rebounds. He was second to Larry Bird in MVP balloting a couple of years ago in this game. 2:40 remaining in the first half, 68-53. The West leading the East. The East has won 4 in a row and lead 22-11 in the all-round series. Walter Davis. This is from the corner, and the East has a chance to come back.
Well, that 4 games straight by the East is weighing heavy on Magic Johnson's mind, and he's got the ability to communicate that to the rest of his West teammates.
Bird, rebound, Magic. Running the court is Walter Davis. Let's see if Magic rewards him. Loose ball, and I think the East was ready for a Magic pass. Bird, Parrish, blocked by Kareem. That's the best block shot of the game, and Frank Layden put both his arms in the air. Johnson to an open Walter Davis.
One great play leads to another.
17-point lead, biggest of the game. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Moncrief for Robert Parrish. Bird, the offensive rebound, the basket, and the foul. So a couple of Celtics trying to make things happen for the East.
We're going to see right now, coming up the court, left Larry Bird, number 33, laying it in there to Robert Parrish, and watch that other 33, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, save it, and up the court. Well, we missed that end. Magic Johnson, great pass to set up Alex English in the corner. But the East team having great difficulty getting their offense on track.
Larry Bird has 9. The West in control. Adrian Dantley. And here is Sidney Moncrief pushing it up. Moncrief, who can penetrate with the best of them. Couldn't score, and here comes Magic Johnson. He's got Kareem and Dantley. The trailer is Vandeweghe. He'll go to Kareem, slapped away by Bird. And taken away by Andrew Toney. Up ahead of the field, Bird to Dr. J. And Bird could have taken the shot, but he went to Julius Erving, and it's now a 70-58 game. Want to remind you, coming up at halftime, Pat O'Brien with the Slam Dunk Championship and old-timer highlights. Toney, 3-on-1. East, Julius again.
Well, East team getting their break going. All it took was a little rebounding off the defensive board and some good defense to make it happen.
And a 17-point lead has been cut to 10, and Julius Erving has 17 points now.
Watch this situation here. Great pickup by Toney. Starts the action. Up to Bird. And you can have it, Dr. J. You make it look better.
You know, many of his slam dunks we have seen so far in this game. Slam dunks from yesterday.
Boy, that was really something to watch.
Here's Frank Layden in the huddle.
Frank Layden telling his ball club, look, guys, we got to get back on the D, or at least control the board. Make sure they don't get the good outlets to get that break going. But that's awfully difficult to do.
Frank Layden went to Niagara and in an amateur stage production played the role of the coach in that championship season. How prophetic.
Great gentleman, Frank Layden.
Kiki Vandeweghe, top of the key, brings out the cheers here at McNichols Arena. 12-point lead, 31 seconds remaining in the first half. Bird to Julius, who has 17 points. Andrew Toney wide open. You can bank on it. Second basket for Toney. 10-point game.
A couple of Celtics, a couple of Sixers, and a buck thrown in there.
Vandeweghe again. So Kiki Vandeweghe personally is matching the East basket for basket here with 9 seconds to go. Bird off the rim. It'll be West ball with 5 seconds to play. And I think the West wants to push it up in a hurry. Johnson It counts at the half. Does he want to win, Tommy?
He said it at the top, we said it in the middle, and he's showing us at the half.
And I'll tell you one thing, the West wants to end this 4-game East winning streak. We'll be back with Pat O'Brien at halftime in just a moment. Back to McNichols Arena for the 34th annual NBA All-Star Game. The West in a surprise, leading the East 76-62 at halftime. And Tom Heitz and Magic Johnson last year set a record with 16 assists. He has 12 so far. That's a big part of the reason why the West is upsetting the East.
They're making their fast break attempts really pay off, and Magic's the guy that's doing it. The rebounds are practically even, but when they're getting that ball off the board and getting that break started, Magic is hitting the right guy at the right time.
Moses Malone, of course, is not here, the dominating center in the league. Of course, Robert Parrish and Lane Beer are here also for the Eastern All-Stars. What is Moses' absence? How has it affected the East?
The East was conceded before this game to have the superior rebounding strength, and without Moses being here, that is a real significant factor, I believe, in this ball game. Robert Parrish is a good rebounder, but certainly Moses Malone makes those bodies fly underneath there, and I think it would have been really helpful if he'd been here for the East.
Okay, and we're getting set now for the start of the third period. Here is Larry Nance, who, as you saw, won the Slam Dunk Championship, and that's his trophy. Sitting there with his trophy, Tom.
Well, what do you think he was going to do? Put it in his pocket?
I don't know. He's got big pockets, and that's a big trophy. Larry Nance of Phoenix, and he is a star to watch in the NBA.
I'm sure he's got that $10,000 in his pocket.
Speaking of thousands of dollars, each winner of this All-Star team will receive $2,000, and the losing team $1,000. So they're not in it for the money, but we saw a lot of that pride in the first half, particularly from Magic Johnson. Underway in the third period. The starting five in the ball game for the East is out there now, and Robert Parrish makes the second one count.
Right off the get-go, they try to go inside, and it's successful. They'll try and climb back and maybe be a little bit more selective on their fast breaks to the East, and then go to the power game inside.
Same five has started for the West also in there. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who scores there, along with Adrian Dantley, Alex English, George Gervin, and Magic Johnson. And it's 78-64. The East had the early lead, an 8-point lead at 12-4, but Magic brought him back. Biggest lead for the West, 17 points. Here's Moncrief inside. Too much traffic with Kareem and Gervin. And here's Magic Johnson. Julius trying to stay with him. Pass inside to Adrian Dantley. And Larry Bird gets the rebound. Julius. Bird. Basket counts and a foul, and the East coming back here early in the third.
They're trying to storm it up the court, be very selective on the fast break. That time Larry Bird had a clear alley to the basket, and Dr. J made it happen.
Larry Bird. He is the blue-collar work ethic, along, I guess, with Rulin. He was the MVP 2 years ago. He's 8th in the league, averaging over 23 a game. He leads the Celtics in assists and steals, and is the second-best free throw percentage in the NBA at 88%.
I think he's got one of the greatest personalities to play, to have as a teammate. Quiet, unassuming, doesn't really look for the glamour and the limelight, and I think his teammates love it.
Driving is Gervin to the hoop. Kareem in a 10-footer for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 14 points and is the high scorer for the West. He has hit 6 in a row now. Julius looking inside for Bird. Bird gets position. Flips back off of Parrish. Dantley had it, and he was fouled by Julius Erving, and that's the second foul of this second half. So for Erving, that is his second personal foul, and the first team foul for the East. Minute and a half gone by in this third period. Adrian Dantley going to the hoop is rejected inside.
Then get by me, says Dr. J.
And Isaiah Thomas comes back and hits the jumper. So Thomas gets the first point, and only Otis Birdsong and Bill Lane Beer of these All-Stars have not scored. Everyone on the West team has scored a point or more in this game. That was the first basket of the ball game for Thomas. And we have a lot of holding fouls so far.
The foul on number 6, Julius Erving.
Julius Erving's third.
Here's Kareem's
second team foul.
By Dr. J. You watch Dr. J come right in there and swat it away. So little defense being played here.
Dantley. Parrish out to Thomas. A 4-on-3 with Isaiah Thomas. Moncrief. Sidney Moncrief inside.
They had a 4-on-3 that time, and they're starting to push it up and make it happen. The East.
Bird steals it, and getting it right back is Alex English.
Does he have a sweet shot, Alex English? One of the best pure jump shooters I've seen for a big guy.
6 for 6 from the field for English. Irving, after Thomas is missed, draws the foul. So the East had drawn to within 9 points after trailing by 14 at the half. It is now back to 11, and with the personal foul on Kareem, that's his third personal foul, the East will have a chance to knock it down to 9. Frank Layden, an Irishman from Brooklyn, New York, the general manager and coach of the Utah Jazz, and a big fat contract ahead of him. He's done a great job in this game particularly. Julius Erving has the best average among All-Star Game scoring leaders, and the other 4, Oscar Robertson, Bob Pettit, Elgin Baylor, and George Mikan, are all here. Mikan, of course, the honorary captain for the West. Elgin Baylor did not play because of an Achilles injury in the Old-Timers game, but Robertson and Pettit did. And Julius Erving, who's the high scorer today with 17 points, will be going to the line to try to increase his lead. The home of the Denver Nuggets, and Carl Scheer, the vice president and general manager of this franchise, has put together a tremendous All-Star Weekend show, and you saw in Pat O'Brien's halftime report the packed house yesterday of 17,000 plus, and of course the sellout today.
You know, they had more people apply for press credentials to cover this weekend than ever in All-Star history, and that includes cities like Los Angeles and New York. That's quite a compliment to this Nugget organization.
No question. Of course, next year's All-Star Game will be held at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis, and we can expect the same kind of hospitality. And
they have the all-timers game, baby. I'm going to really work to get in shape.
Tommy, 1 every 5 years enough for you, don't you think?
I think so.
I was worried about you for a while. Kareem with the sky hook. That's until you got that assist that they didn't give you.
Boy, I hope they got that on tape so I can take it home with me.
I think the tape went blank at that time.
I think my only assist in my career.
11-point lead for the West. Julius Erving working against Adrian Dantley. Has a shot blocked by Gervin. Julius again. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Isaiah Thomas cans it from outside. So it's a 9-point game again. And here's Magic pushing it up. Out of bounds. It's going to be turned over to the East.
You'll see a great move by Dr. J, but Gervin, the Iceman, icing him down.
All right, Isaiah Thomas now in a setup offense, working against Magic Johnson, who's 6'9". He's got about 8 inches on Isaiah. Julius Erving has Parrish for a screen, fighting through his Dantley. Good defense by Dantley. 4 seconds on the clock. Bird fires it up. Parrish, new clock. Out of bounds. No, still inbounds, and now they stepped on the line, so it'll be West ball. A little sloppy inside for the moment, and here comes Magic Johnson, who has 13 assists in the game, feeds Alex English, locked out of bounds.
Well, they said this would be all offense. We're seeing all defense. Block shots galore here.
Last year, we saw great passing and defense, and I think that what we have here, a lot of players, everyone thinks they all want to shoot and score. I think they want to impress their peers that they can pass to.
And also play that good D.
Kareem against Parrish. Left-handed skyhook.
He moves to the hoop with that move. He's unstoppable. It really requires team defense to try and turn Jabbar off.
18 points for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's hit 8 of his last 9 shots. He scored 20 in a losing cause for the West last year. Moncrief double-teamed inside. Parrish lost it. And they're going to call a loose ball foul. It'll be against Adrian Dantley, and that will be the 13th team foul. And second personal against Adrian Dantley with an 11-point West lead. They have been in the lead since the early East 12-4 margin. Biggest margin was 17 points.
The West trying to play a little bit more team defense than perhaps the East.
Magic Johnson, did he get Thomas from behind? And Earl Strom says he did. And so that'll be the second foul on number 32.
Well, right now, the West is taking advantage of any time the ball going down inside as they're looking at Mark McGuire. They're going to double down and try and take the ball out of the hands of the big people down low of the East. And it's been effective the last couple of trips.
Isaiah Thomas And so, along with Mark Aguirre coming in for the West, Bernard King comes in for Larry Bird of the East. Bird goes to the bench. He has scored 12 points. Thomas's smile is so infectious.
He was just happy to be at the line, I think.
He's averaged over 10 assists this year, 2.5 steals. And a foul with 7:22 to go in the third period. I believe that foul is on Sidney Moncrief, and that's number 3 on Sidney Moncrief. And so George Gervin will go to the line. The East is trailing by 14 at the half. They've made some headway here in the third period, but still trail by 9. Now it's 10.
Well, Gervin is one of the more difficult guards to defend against in the NBA. 6'7". He's got the good outside shot, and you really, when he gets his hands on the ball, have difficulty trying to take that jump shot away from him.
Kevin McHale comes in for Robert Parrish, who has 10 points and 13 rebounds. So Parrish is doing the job as a starter. Moses Malone, of course, injured, unable to play.
Well, here's where the East team could lose the battle of the boards. With Parrish being out, he's been doing a real credible job on the offense and defensive board.
Thomas hits the jump shot. Isaiah Thomas, who was scoreless at halftime, now has 8 points on 4 field goals. They're coming back. Magic Johnson inside. Aguirre loses it to the doctor. 4 on 3. And Julius is fouled, so a chance now for the East to come within 7 points with just under 7 minutes to go in the third period. And now Frank Layden says, I'm going to get a playmaker and scrappy defender of my own in the game. So Ricky Green will be coming back in the ball game for the West. Ricky Green has scored 2 points, but he's been quite a playmaker with 8 assists in the game, and we'll be back.
Pat O'Brien here with outgoing commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien, and what a great game for your last game.
A great game, and it's the tradition of all-star games, as you know, of the NBA. Fantastic players, the greatest in the world, and here we are enjoying them thoroughly.
And all the comments about you, the one thing that's been left out is what you're going to do next. What are you going to do?
I haven't made a firm decision, Pat, but I will very shortly. And the people suggest a lot of things to me, but they're supposed to be well-meaning friends, and I'm too sure they're well-meaning. I think a lot about all of this.
Congratulations on great contributions to the game. Back to you, Dick.
Tommy, he's been a terrific commissioner.
The game has blossomed under his administration. It was in serious trouble. It's come on to where I think it's ready to be the sport of the 80s that they hoped it would be in the 70s.
He does leave, as you said, the game much better shape than when he
had a lot of problems when he came in. Merger, expansion, player problems, antitrust actions. Solved that in a great conciliatory way as a great compromiser, and really had done an outstanding job. The next guy coming in has got a tough act to follow.
And he's got good credentials, David Stern, who will take over this week. Julius Erving, this is the first free throw, so Ricky Green is in the backcourt for the West, along with George Gervin. It is now an 8-point game with just under 7 minutes to play, 88-80. Ricky Green looked good with 8 assists, as we said, down in the Utah Jazz, the surprise team, the third best record in the NBA of Boston and Philadelphia.
Well, trying to help out on Kareem as much as they possibly can. There it is. They're going to.
And there's Ricky Green outside hitting the jumper. So Ricky Green now with only his second basket, but he has made things happen every time he's come in the game now, and it's 90-80 with 6:34 remaining in the third period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here in Denver, Colorado.
Game taking a slower form right now. They're trying to set it up a little bit more than fast break.
Thomas with a jumper, and he has been red hot in the second half with 10 points on 5 field goals. And once again, the East is coming close. They're 8 points down, and Thomas saves it to Sidney Moncrief, and a chance to draw to 6 points. But Sidney Moncrief is a lot of things, but a magician he's not.
They say some of those Denver players don't play defense. Alex English forced the walk.
Jack Sikma is going to come in. Otis Birdsong, one of 2 players who hasn't scored in the game. From the New Jersey Nets, he comes in the ball game. Jack Sikma comes in, and Ralph Sampson. So they're going to go with the Redwood Trees now, Frank Layden is, and take advantage of what could be a big deficit for the East rebounding-wise.
Sigma with the curly hair.
Illinois Wesleyan. Misses the shot, gets his own rebound, and scores.
That's a tough matchup for Dr. J because he can't get at the shot. Turned Sigma loose on the board so he can get his own missed shot.
10-point lead, 5:45 to go. Biggest lead was 17 by the West at 70-53. Birdsong picked up nicely by Mark Aguirre and Otis Birdsong off the rim. Birdsong double team, finds King. King, Irving. Julius from King.
Oh, yes.
Aguirre.
Creativity.
Why do people say that these are the greatest athletes in the game? Just look at any one of these plays, right?
Watch this play here. Drop down. He's corralled in there by 3 white jerseys. Finds a nice way to get it up and in. Wasn't that beautiful?
Julius Irving goes out of the game. He has scored 22 points and is the game high scorer. Kareem has 18 for the West, and here is Ruland in the ball game. Jeff Ruland from the Washington Bullets, who have been struggling so far in the Atlantic Division in last place.
Did you take a look at that grim face of Jeff Ruland? How'd you like to meet him in a dark alley?
Wouldn't even want to sit next to him at the banquet last night.
I want to tell you something. He is huge.
9-point lead, 93-84, 5:20 to go. Aguirre has 11 in the game now. Isaiah Thomas and Ricky Green matched up. Former Big Ten stars. Thomas from Indiana, Ricky Green from Michigan. Rebound, Ralph Sampson. And they went at it in the NCAA championship a few years ago. Ricky Green. No good. Aguirre. Out of bounds, East ball, and a chance now to narrow the lead to 7. And Aguirre comes out like a fullback. There's Andrew Toney back in the ball game. So they want some scoring right now, and Andrew could very well give it to him.
He's great, fast breaking, as you see Isaiah sitting down, but they need to get the fast break going, make good hoops on that end of it, and also if they don't, get some set offense going.
20-second timeout called for by Casey Jones. Julius Irving has 22 points, Larry Bird 12, Parrish and Isaiah Thomas 10, all of Thomas's points in the second half. Kareem is the leading scorer for the West with 18. Behind him is Alex English with 13, Mark Aguirre 11, and George Gervin 9.
Well, Kareem very much a factor here in all kinds of ways, but that inside game against Robert Parrish has produced some strong offensive points, rolls to the hoop, and they're not, because the East hasn't got that real team defensive concept to double down on Kareem. That's turning him loose a little bit more than normally happens during the regular season.
Under 5 minutes to go, third period. 9-point lead, 93-84. Jeff Ruland inside. A lot of beef inside with Sigma, and it's out of bounds. Good defense by Jack Sigma.
Boy, he had him underneath the basket. No place for Ruland to go, but jump back into Ralph Sampson. How'd you like to face that?
Gervin working against, and with the help of a Sampson pick. Coming around to Aguirre. Bernard King defending Aguirre. Loose ball, Sigma comes up with it. He has played a game that won't always be shown in this box score at the end. That was Mark Aguirre with his 13th point, but Sigma is really causing a lot of commotion inside at both ends. McHale turnaround, and he's fouled.
At the East losing the battle of the boards right now. Sigma and Ralph Sampson and Aguirre matched up against Ruland, McHale, and Bernard King. That's where the problem lies right now.
Jim Paxson replaces George Gervin. So a scorer goes out, and George Gervin, who has scored 9 points, and Paxson, as we said, works well without the ball, a really heady player for Portland in there.
I used to play against his dad. Played for the Cincinnati Royals, and fine player, and I think he took that youngster when he was a little kid and taught him how to move without the ball, because that's what his dad used to do so well.
Of course, Jim Paxson's brother John, rookie with the San Antonio Spurs, a team that was struggling early. They've come back. They got the 6th best record now in the Western Conference traveling call. The West has held a lead. It was 14 at the half. It's now 95-86. 4 minutes to go in the period. Bernard King. Smooth jumper by Bernard King. Once a comeback player of the year at Golden State. Mark Aguirre putting on a show. Follow-up. And McHale clears it. And here's Kevin McHale showing he can handle the ball. To King. To McHale inside. They battle for it. Paxson. Ruland. Birdsong tipped up and in by Bernard King.
And King is triggering this comeback by the East.
A 5-point game now with 3:25 to go. And here comes Birdsong. Green is back. So is King. Follow up, McHale. And it's a 95-92 ball game.
And Kevin McHale's got a little bit to do with this comeback himself.
Timeout, and the East is aroused right now. It's a 3-point ball game. The East is coming back. We'll be back. Division, the defending world champion Philadelphia 76ers trail the Boston Celtics by 5 games, and Philadelphia has a lot to make up. And 2 weeks from today at 3:30 Eastern Time, one of the classic rivalries in sports continues as the 76ers travel to the Boston Garden to face the Celtics. You'll see them all, the Doctor, Moses Malone, and the rest of the defending champions against Larry Bird and the Celtics. And it seems like every game they play goes down to the wire, Tommy.
Boy, it's a war when they play each other. There's an intense rivalry that goes on there. The Celtics can be up by 5 games, but Philadelphia doesn't believe it.
And that's in 2 weeks. Philly and Boston, 3:30 Eastern Time. Tommy and I will be there. Kiki Vandeweghe.
That'll be a great one.
Inbounds to Sigma. 10 seconds on the shot clock. West ball, 2:56 remaining.
Well, the West right now trying to set up their own inside game a little bit. They've got Ralph Sampson down there and being guarded by Rulin, but
Ricky Green hits the jump shot.
The bomb.
6 points for Ricky Green, just about at that 3-point line. And a 5-point lead for the West, just when they needed it the most. Inside, Bernard King. Rebound, Ralph Sampson. Outlet pass to Ricky Green. McHale in front of him. Ricky Green again. And Rulin out to Otis Birdsong. And we're seeing end-to-end fast break basketball right now. Bernard King goes the baseline. Basket counts and a foul. And Ralph Sampson's got to be saying, what can I do to stop that?
And that brought Larry Bird straight off the bench. What a great play by Bernard King. It goes up quickly, and watch the blow that Sampson lays on Bernard King. He takes it and kisses it off the glass as nice as can be.
The 4th personal foul on Sampson. King missed the free throw, so it's still a 3-point game. And Ricky Green stepped on the line, and the East can narrow it to 1 now as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes back in the ball game. He has 18 and is the leading scorer for the West. Ralph Sampson sits down with 4 personals.
Well, Sampson played rather well in there.
He's played well in his first appearance in his first year. Andrew Kelly drive a little bit too hard. McHale over Kareem. Ruling that a loose ball foul will be charged against the Eastern All-Stars.
2 blocks of granite. Look at the grimace of Larry Bird. You don't think these guys want to win the game?
Well,
there's your answer, baby.
I think it's like anything else. I think they have a lot of fun. They enjoyed watching you guys play yesterday in the slam dunkers. But when they toss it up on the day of the game, what else do you want to do? Your old coach, Red Auerbach, how badly did he want to win yesterday?
Wouldn't believe it. He was putting plays on the blackboard to win that old-timers game. But what really was interesting in the locker room today before these ball games was the intensity that you see. I coached a few of these all-star games, and when that door closes and the press is outside, it's all business. How are we going to beat the other team? And it's meaningful.
Rulin had committed the foul, of course, and Sigma made good on his first free throw. Jack Sigma, one of the last vestiges of Seattle's championship team. Certainly the last of the great front line. Here are the old-timers. There's Hal Greer in the middle. DeBusschere to the right, Havlicek, and Alex Hannum.
With the glasses perched on the top of his head.
He's a big favorite in Denver. He coached the Western old-timers. 2 minutes to go, and we have a pushing foul with 1:59, and so they'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Very interesting to me, Dick, that when the East is looking for an inside game, they're going to Bernard King. They must feel they have a mismatch situation there, or somebody can't guard Bernard King. Normally you'd think they might go to Ruland or Kevin McHale, but they're going to Bernard King.
And he can do it inside. Vandeweghe fouled him, and Bernard misses the free throw. There's Johnny Kerr, and behind him, the great Oscar Robertson.
Johnny Kerr let me get a shot off yesterday. Thank you very much, Johnny Kerr.
You guys won the Hefty Award.
Yeah, we won the Hefty Award. Pudgy Man of the Year.
Paxson looking for Kareem. Ruland banging inside. Paxson fires it up. Sigma. Second effort. Sigma again. 101-95 with 1:40 to go. The West does not want to relinquish this lead. No question about it.
Well, the East can't afford to give up that offensive board that easily.
McHale double teamed by Green and Sigma, and stolen by Sigma. Here's Ricky Green. Paxson.
Well, that was a beautiful shot by Paxson. He had to glide by Andrew Toney and lay it in lefty. Not an easy shot.
They closed it to 3, the East, and now it's an 8-point game again. And Kareem may be hit with a foul. Let's see if it is. It's number 4, and it is number 4 on Abdul-Jabbar. So Ralph Sampson is on the bench with 4. Kareem has 4.
How'd you like to be coaching a team for a full season, and if Kareem went down with 6 personal fouls, your substitute would be Ralph Sampson.
Or Jack Sigma.
Wow.
Bill Laimbeer comes back in the ballgame, replacing Kevin McHale. Laimbeer.
And that's an effort by Casey Jones to get control, a little bit better control of the rebounding department, as McHale was giving up a lot of strength on Jabbar.
Ruland, who's a new daddy. His daughter, Courtney Ann, is a week old, and he is a proud father, and he cans the free throw, so it's 103-97. Ralph Sampson getting set to come back in. You saw Kiki Vandeweghe. What a great front line the Denver Nuggets have with Issel, Vandeweghe, and English.
They can shoot it inside and shoot it outside.
Toney driving. Laimbeer. Tapped out from Kareem to Paxson to Ricky Green. And Bernard King the rebound. Otis Birdsong defending Green at one end, and Otis Birdsong taking a shot at the other end. Birdsong. What play? This is a big game for Otis Birdsong, too, isn't it? Coming off of the injury in 2 tough years.
He wants to prove that he's back. He's made a dramatic comeback after a stress fracture of the pelvis last year.
And Jim Paxson in double figures with 10 for the West. 107-99, 10 seconds to go. In the third period, the East cut it to 3. But the West is opening up again to an 8-point lead, 107-99. And with 1 second to go, that'll do it in the third period. So we have completed 3 periods in the 34th annual All-Star Game. It's 107-99 the West. And we'll return to McNichols Arena after this word from your local station. Beautiful state, Colorado, and a progressive city, Denver, the host of the 34th All-Star Game. The West leads 107-99. We start the fourth period. Dick Stockton with Tom Heinsohn. Keep in mind that the East has won 4 straight games. No one has ever won 5 in a row. The West wants to break it, and we're going to get down to crunch time in this one.
Yeah, a lot of strategy going to start to develop here in this fourth quarter as we see Magic Johnson back in the ball game. They're going to have their best ball handlers try and keep the fast break going the way they did prior, and if they don't, go to the inside. The strategy maker, Frank Layden, sitting on the bench.
Sigma against Laimbeer, fall-away shot. So Jack Sigma starts out with Ralph Sampson, Kiki Vandeweghe, Magic Johnson, and Walter Davis. Andrew Toney and Otis Birdsong are in the backcourt for the East. Bill Laimbeer, Bernard King, and Jeff Ruland. And a foul right off the top here, a personal foul on Jack Sigma, his third.
And Ruland, as he wheeled, got by Sigma, but saw, guess who? Ralph Sampson.
All right, here's Kelly Tripucka and Isaiah Thomas coming back in. So once again, we have 3 Detroit Pistons in there. Tripucka, Thomas, and Laimbeer. The combinations you were talking about.
Trying to have a little cohesiveness in the offense.
Hey, King misses the shot. Sigma, the rebound. Walter Davis to Kiki Vandeweghe. And out of the pack comes Isaiah Thomas, 4-on-1. It's Bernard King with a stuff on a drive.
Well, he's been playing some kind of game, Bernard King.
He's got 18 points, Tom, and Julius still leads all scorers with 22. Kareem has 18 for the West. Aguirre and English 13. Walter Davis, no good. Rebound, Lane Beer. Nearly 2 minutes gone by in the final period. An 8-point lead for the West. Isaiah Thomas, he has been blistering hot in the second half. He has 12 points in the game, all in the second. Losing it. Nope, not quite. It's still West ball. Thomas.
With Magic and Isaiah in there, they're still going to try and fast break as much as possible.
Here's Ralph Sampson. And here's Isaiah Thomas running ahead of the ball for a moment. He's trying to lead the comeback with King, Lambier, and it's now 109-105, a 4-point game, and the closest the East has come was in the third period when they got to within 3.
It's getting down to that crunch time.
Walter Davis firing away and hitting. I'll tell you, the West All-Stars with most of the big scorers have been hitting the outside shot in the second half.
That makes any set offense very interesting. The East going to try and do it with the fast break here in this fourth quarter.
Rulin, Lambier, 2 in a row for Bill Lambier, who played in Italy 4 years ago, went from Cleveland to Detroit, now has a home in Detroit. Sigma, Sampson, and they'll call a jump ball. Rulin ties up Sampson.
Well, Rulin may not have gotten the rebound, but he surrounded Ralph Sampson. I wonder who's going to get this tip.
Well, the East, Trapuka, foul. Nope. He's fouled. The crowd thought he had traveled, and they don't like the call. Trapuka is fouled by Magic Johnson, number 3 on Johnson. And a timeout.
This is really strategy time for both these coaches to try and win this game.
9:40 remaining in the fourth period. The West is up by 4. The playoffs have been expanded from 6 to 8 teams in each conference, and the first round is now at best 3 out of 5. And if the season were to end today in the Eastern Conference, this would be the lineup. And the first 4 teams, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and the New York Knicks, would have the home court for that first round, and these would be the 8 teams. In the West, the story, Utah, Dallas, LA, Portland. And with Utah and Dallas looking so good, you want to talk about parity, the NBA has it. Teams aren't going from mediocrity or from being a poor team to mediocrity. They're going to be solid teams here.
Absolutely, and the guy responsible again for that, to develop that parity, Larry O'Brien, who's leaving today. Dick, this is the key part of the All-Star game. It's now transferred from a player's game to more of a coach's game.
Team fouls, 2 on the West, none on the East, and a turnover. East can't afford too many of those here in the final period.
And that's where I thought he'd be in there for the MVP, making a few of those. A key fast break by Sampson.
Well, he may have heard you, and he may be saving his best for last. Out to Thomas. Thomas. He continues to shoot the lights out of that basket. He has 14 points. He has hit his last 5, and all of them in the second half. Winding down to 9 minutes to go. Sampson against Rulin. Here's Ralph again. And the rebound is by Bill Lambier to Thomas. There are 3 members of the Pistons, plus Bernard King of the Knicks and Rulin of the Bullets. Here's Rulin of the Bullets.
Beautiful laydown by Isaiah Thomas on the penetration, and Rulin with a tough shot. Not an easy one to make at all.
113 to 111. The West trying to hold on here with a 2-point lead. And Magic, who's not the most effective outside shooter, misses out there. Here's Ralph again.
Look at Magic Johnson's eyes waiting for Ralph Sampson to uncover. And boy, does he make a stuff or what. Here's Isaiah, the penetration, the entire defense adjusts. There's the working man player, Rulin, up and under.
And Julius Erving is back in the lineup. He replaces Jeff Rulin. The doctor double teamed at the baseline. Thomas is hot. This is a 3-point attempt. And Kiki Vandeweghe the rebound. It'll be West ball, and this is the closest the East has come since the West led late in the first period, 32 to 31.
The reason I say it's a coach's part of the game now, they've called some things that they may try to go to in the last time out. Let's see what they do.
Walter Davis coming off a screen. And Julius Erving. The East can tie it up. We have had only one tie in the game. They do. Laimbeer. Great pass. Isaiah Thomas. Brilliant pass.
And Laimbeer knows when to be available for the pass. That's the beauty of playing with a guy like Isaiah. And using that combination right now.
Isaiah's got 12 assists in the ball game, and we have a tie. Second tie of the game. And Laimbeer to Julius. Julius. What can you say?
I mean, this is a Weston crowd, and they're up on their feet cheering that play by Dr. J.
And the East has taken the lead. They've come from 17 points behind. And Walter Davis says, wait a second. Tie again with 7:09 to play. We're at 1:15. Isaiah all the way. Isaiah Thomas.
Well, they're steaming right at the West. The fast break. Isaiah pushing it up, making it happen now.
Under 7 minutes to go. 1:17, 1:15 the East. And the Pistons have made it happen. But Vandeweghe ties it up again. Out of bounds. The West has it.
And there's an instance of not playing together with each other. Isaiah thought King was going to go to the hoop. If he had, he probably would have given a great pass. There's Isaiah on the move. Pushing it up before the defense really gets set. Everybody's retreating. Swoops by everybody. And that is great basketball.
This is the All-Star game, friends. By the best. Timeout. 6:44 remain. And we're tied. The champion Curry against the undefeated challenger Costello coming up right after the game on CBS Sports Sunday.
This is a Weston crowd. They're rooting for the West, but all of a sudden they're rooting for the East after that. What a play by Dr. J.
And then Isaiah Thomas, of course, on the penetration. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Adrian Dantley back in the ball game. Alex English and Green and Davis in the backcourt. There you are, the leading scorers.
Jabbar now offers a lot of good offensive potential. They go right to him.
Fair ball. Bird. Bird is in there with Julius, Thomas, Moncrief, and Laimbeer. Laimbeer's done a good job as the third center here.
Sure has.
Here's Laimbeer. It drops.
And he is dynamite from out 15 feet. The Detroit connection doing it again.
He's second in the league in rebounding. He's behind Moses Malone. That's rebounding average at over 12 and a half. English with a screen from Kareem. And Moncrief goes up high. The East with a lead up 2 with 6 minutes to go in the game. Bird pulls up on the baseline. Laimbeer fights again. Foul. Basket counts. And what about Bill Laimbeer today?
They may have brought him out from Detroit after Moses got hurt, but they're not saying we're sorry we did it. They're totally thankful that Laimbeer is here today, though, that Eastern squad.
Keep in mind that Isaiah Thomas in this half has 16 points and 5 assists.
Well, when you're playing with some of your teammates, it makes it a lot easier for the cohesiveness of the offense in an all-star game. And Laimbeer has really responded very, very nicely in this ball game. Come in, made some fast break hoops, rebounded real well, and hit a key outside shot.
He has hit 11 points in this period alone for Bill Laimbeer. Ricky Green misses, and Moncrief leads a fast break. Julius. Moncrief. Julius says, I'll pick it up, the loose ball. It's still East ball. Laimbeer, in the period you say is the big period in this game, has 11 points. So in crunch time, he's doing it as Lee brings in some reserves.
Yeah, you never would have expected it, but he did it, Laimbeer. We're looking at the West's answer right now to come back with Magic Johnson and Paxson, who move well without the ball.
5:36 remaining. Fourth period. Laimbeer gets away inside. He has 13 in this half.
Smart play to shake Laimbeer loose. A nice heads-up pass by Bird.
And it's 7-point lead now. 124-117. And the East has blown away from the West here in this fourth period.
Laimbeer guarding Jabbar. The instructions, I think, from the bench is get it into Jabbar. Watch the contact the physical part of any game, Lambier takes a header. Ooh, that hurts.
The East has scored 7 in a row, Tom. They've outscored the West 25-10 in this period, 13 by Bill Lambier. Well, there's a sky hook, and that'll bring him back.
Well, they're going to try and get it into Jabbar. They feel they can get the shot off against Lambier. It's not known as a real leaper, but Lambier is making Jabbar work up the other end.
Kareem has 20 now, leading scorer for the West. Isaiah Thomas looking inside. 5 minutes to go, 5:01. Foul.
Interesting, Lambier is at the head of the key, taking Jabbar, the biggest man on the East team, on the West team rather, out of the underneath defense position. So the East has many opportunities to score inside if they use that strategy.
Dantley's foul, his third and the 4th team foul for the West. Bird misses. Julius saves. 1 team foul on the East with under 5 minutes to go. Magic Johnson has broken the All-Star game assist record. He's got 17. And Larry Bird will go to the line. Magic Johnson, Tommy, last year had 16 assists. He's got 17 in this game. Just gets better and better.
When he plays the game, you know, these other All-Star players, you can see how dejected he is right now to be down by this 5-point margin, maybe 6 or 7. But Magic Johnson with that 17 assists has really done an outstanding job. But the players are all fans of Magic Johnson. They want to remember being at the tail end of a Magic Johnson assist on a fast break. They love it.
Larry Bird with the free throws after Dantley's 4th personal foul and 15th foul on the West. They're in the penalty. 7-point lead for the West. Dantley in the crowd, jump ball. He was tied up, and look at that little dance by Isaiah Thomas. He's got the moves.
Watch this little reaction here by Mr. Thomas. Oh, baby, you must have been watching the gorilla out here.
Kareem claims a foul. Thomas behind his back to Moncrief. And we're going to have another jump.
Magic Johnson, super play, had 3-on-1 and broke it down. Great defense by Magic Johnson.
Jump ball.
Watch it happening here. 3-on-1, Magic's got them all. He makes them make the bad pass, and a little jump ball situation. He had those feet moving.
Julius Erving. And Julius Erving, the high scorer in the game, has 26 points. And the East is shooting over 75% in this 4th period. They lead now 128-119. Biggest lead of the ball game for the East. Sigma foul going in. The East had an early lead of 8 points at 12-4. The West then came back and led most of the way, leading by 17 points at one time, and the East stormed back. They came within 3. They were down by 8 after 3 period, and then forged in front. And with 4:04 to go, the East calls a timeout.
Go at it, baby. Right now, the West has got to get it together to make a quick comeback as far as they can do it.
Many of the great wars in pro basketball have been fought between these two teams, Philly and Boston, and they'll hook up again in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, 3:30 Eastern on CBS, and these two will be on opposite ends for that one, Tom.
Larry Bird and Dr. J, and both of them are something to see. And this rivalry has been going on so long, I can't remember how long. Wilt Chamberlain, I can remember playing against some of those Philly teams, and it hasn't ceased one bit.
Here's Jack Sikma on the line. At halftime, the West surprisingly held their own rebounding-wise. They were 25-25, but in the second half, the East has opened up their domination inside with a 14-rebound advantage over the West.
Well, I think Ruland, McHale, and particularly Lambier have added to those totals and has helped create this real lead that the East is enjoying right now.
It is never easy to pick a most valuable player in this game because there are a lot of different elements to the game, and it isn't always the high scorer. Julius Erving happens to be the high scorer with 26, And he won it last year. He's won it before, and he's a hot candidate tonight, too.
There's Isaiah, there's Lambier, there's Bernard King. All possibilities for the East. Magic Johnson, a possibility for the West. Jabbar, you pick it. I don't know. I can't even tell yet.
Well, we're all going to pick it, though, and we'll find out. Sigma, guarded by Bird. 9-point lead in a steal by Moncrief. And you can just feel the air coming out of the West All-Stars balloon right now. Lambier doesn't make it. Kareem the rebound. And the West trying to break a 4-game losing streak. Looked like they may be on to a good thing for most of this game, but all of a sudden it evaporated here in the fourth period.
And they're still coming at him, Isaiah. If we got it, we're going to take it.
Thomas guarded by Paxson. Lambier, in fact, the Detroit connection, as you mentioned.
They pulled it back out. They had a 3-on-2 and said, no, let's get something a little bit more solid than that.
Julius and Kareem, and it was blocked inside. I think Magic got a hand on it. Under 3 minutes now. Kiki Vandeweghe. Baseline. They're going to need his scoring down the stretch.
Outside scoring, and also perhaps to get the ball to Jabbar to climb back into it. But here's Isaiah walking it up, so they've got lots of people to go to. The guy that's been hot has been Lambier.
Isaiah Thomas has 16 points, all in the second half, plus tremendous playmaking today. Lambier with 3 seconds on the clock. Thomas looks, he fires. Sigma. 7-point lead for the East. Here's Vandeweghe again. And Vandeweghe bringing the West back. Kiki Vandeweghe with 14.
There's a guy that knows where to get and how to get open with a great ball handle like Magic Johnson.
Averaging 29 on the year. And we're winding down now to 2 minutes to go in the fourth period of the 34th All-Star game. 130 to 125. The doctor tipped up by Lambier, and it's a foul on Lambier.
Well, Lambier might have been happy he was here on Friday, but he's certainly very happy he made the trip because he plays super basketball, even though he got that offensive foul.
And we have a timeout. Frank Layden's team is 5 behind with 1:53 to go. There's plenty of time. Casey Jones knows it as well as anyone. At the conclusion of today's All-Star game, Tom Heinsohn and I will be selecting the Miller High Life Most Valuable Player of the Game. In conjunction with this award, Miller will present a check for $2,000 to the Special Olympics in that player's name. It's up in the air, Tom.
Well, I'll tell you, I wouldn't know who to pick right now. Lambier has made a great contribution. Isaiah Thomas and Tripucka came in and sparked with that Detroit connection from the Motor City. And they motored right through the West team for significant contributions. Bernard King has been solid. Spectacular has been Dr. J. Kareem has been a scoring machine. Magic has broken the assist record.
Well,
wow, what a pick.
This is a great show and a great competitive battle. The East had won 4 in a row from 63 to 66, trying to make it 5 straight. Kiki Vandeweghe has hit 2 in a row. And we'll have a foul against Lambier. He was holding Kareem inside.
Well, if you don't get that good pop-out stuff, look back into the inside guy, and there's Kareem. There's Lambier laying muscle on Kareem. Lots of muscle on Kareem. And the whistle did blow.
That's the 5th team foul, so it's the penalty, and Kareem is shooting 2. Kareem, leading scorer for the West, 21 points today. This is his 13th All-Star appearance, high record. He was selected for a 14th back in '73, but was injured and didn't play.
Well, it's still anybody's ball game.
Sure is. 4-point game, 1:35 remaining. Isaiah Thomas guarded by Ricky Green. And they're going to call the West.
Little strategy move here by the East team. Lambier with that good outside shooting is pulling Kareem out. It allows Doc to perhaps isolate somebody inside, and that's what the East has been trying to do, is get Doc one-on-one down low.
Julius with 2. Now going for his 28th point of the game. He was the MVP last year. He had also won the Most Valuable Player award. in 1977. Bob Pettit won 3, shared another time. Oscar Robertson won 3, Bob Cousy won 2. Those are the multiple MVP award winners. 6-point lead. Magic Johnson feeds a Sigma, and it's a 4-point game again. 132 to 128, 118 to go. Julius to Larry Bird. They're going to use the clock.
They sure were, and Bird really had a chance to get an outside shot, thought better of it.
105 and 9 on the shot clock. Julius Erving against Kiki Vandeweghe. Julius Erving misses. Kareem the rebound. Can they cut it to 2? Here's Magic. And it's thrown away. Let's see, it was deflected. And it's going to be West ball. It's West ball.
Well, that was a break, I believe, for the West, as they really intimidated Magic to throw it away. I don't think anybody really nicked it, and Casey doesn't like it.
He wants a timeout, and he's going to get it right here.
We're going to see the deflection, they tell me. And Dr. J just nicked it.
So a timeout called for by Casey Jones with under a minute to go and a 4-point lead for the East. Quite a bill of fare coming up right after the game on CBS Sports Sunday, highlighted by the WBC Super Lightweight Championship fight. Julius Erving has 28 points in the game. He's the high scorer, and that's the most points in an all-star game since George Gervin scored 34 4 years ago.
That's impressive, but Lambier has been impressive. Isaiah Thomas has been impressive, and somebody better be impressive for the West.
Sigma, he's been impressive today.
He sure has.
On the follow-up, and it's a 2-point game. The West has 3 timeouts plus a 20. They got plenty of time there. Thomas against Green. Bird, top of the key. Kareem the rebound. The West can tie it up. Magic Johnson. He does it. He does it.
Well, the East are going to end up with the last shot.
There are 2 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock. Timeout. Listen to him.
Oh, they love it. This game is all great basketball. Here's Magic coming into it and puts a super move and ties it up.
And don't forget, he's got 19 assists as well. Coming out of the wire, folks. The West has outscored the East 11-2 after they were down by 9. And now the East, with 20 seconds to go and 19 on the shot clock, working out a play that they hope will win it for them.
Well, they've got various places to go. Robert Parrish back in the ball game. That might be a place to go inside. Lambier in there, fine outside shooter, a big guy. You'll have to play him. So they got Larry Bird and Dr. J.
A lot of rebounders. It's Thomas and Erving and 3 big guys. 13 seconds. Tie game at 132. Bird fakes, fires it up. 4 seconds to go. Here's Magic Johnson. Fires it up. Overtime. Overtime. Isn't this something?
It is absolutely fantastic. Magic Johnson so sorry with himself that he didn't put in that bomb from the 3-point land, but it's going into overtime, gang. Look at him, fired it away. Look at this, and we're going to see a coach in agony. Oh, what do I do?
All right. Okay, isn't he great? He's terrific. Right now, before we go to the 5-minute overtime period, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent? Overtime. Right now, let's try to go to the Western Huddle in Frank Layton.
Starting to stack again. Work hard. Let's run. Let's run. Let's run the floor, okay? That's where we let up. That's what hurt us in the 3rd quarter. We stopped running, okay? Let's keep after them. They're down. We got momentum. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
They sure do, Tommy. They got momentum.
They've got momentum. They've got Jabbar. They got Magic Johnson. And they got some other people there, too, that can do some damage.
What a game this is. The East, the early lead, and the West by 17. Looked like they were going to break the East hold for sure. The East came back and led by 9. It looked like the West had just about fizzled out. And a late spurt, 11-2, brought him into a tie. Magic Johnson, who has 19 assists in the ball game, breaking his own assist record from last year. This is a 5-minute overtime period.
Robert,
good matchups coming up here for both teams to potentially try and take advantage of. Robert Parrish, maybe against Jabbar. Jabbar against Parrish. We got Dr. J guarding Kiki Vandeweghe, and the Iceman being guarded by Andrew Toney.
Here is Kiki Vandeweghe. Julius falls down. Vandeweghe is open, and Vandeweghe in and out. Parrish, the rebound, and the East can draw first blood in overtime. Isaiah Thomas. It goes, and it counts.
When you try and stop him, that's like trying to catch a water bug. He just skitters in front of you, and as he comes up the court, this is what you're looking at. Some head fake, some foot fake, some change of pace, and right into the pack, and does he know how to do it?
Isaiah Thomas, 18 points, all in the second half. 14 assists, and a 3-point lead for the East here. Keep in mind, on the 4th foul, you get the bonus. Each team allowed 2 timeouts. The West also will have a 20-second timeout. That's a lot of them. He did not use it in the 4 quarters. Steele, Parrish, Thomas didn't have control of it, and Sikma is fouled as he gets the rebound. Isaiah Thomas just didn't have control.
And he could have probably laid it off to Andrew Toney that time, who might have had an easier chance to try and score, but he's trying to make it happen. Isaiah Thomas.
George Gervin, a scoring machine in the backcourt, looking for Sikma. Bird is on Sikma. Here's Jack Sikma, tipped up and in by Kareem. And it's a 1-point lead for the East with 1 minute gone by now in overtime. This is the 3rd overtime in the history of the All-Star games, and the first one since the East won in 1980 in Landover, Maryland. Bird looking for help. Andrew Toney. Notice they have the good outside shooters in there now.
They sure do.
Julius.
And there's one of them. Medium range jumper, and that's pretty decent range for Dr. J.
30 points for Julius Erving. George Gervin. One-hander. And an offensive foul called against George Gervin. He used that left arm.
Great defensive play by Andrew Toney to destroy the rhythm of the Iceman.
137-134 the East. 3:20 to go. 19 on the shot clock.
Here's where you have problems when you get down to the last couple of minutes of a key game like this, where you don't have the coordination, the execution of set plays. So there might be a lot of one-on-one like we're going to see maybe right here.
Bird, baseline. Blocked by Magic Johnson. But Julius is there. Erving, 32 for the Doctor. And a 5-point lead for the East. They're opening it up now. Gervin got free inside.
Magic Johnson knowing where the open man was.
20 assists for Magic Johnson today.
Well, we're going to need a computer to keep track of those.
3-point lead for the East. Andrew Toney. So the Philadelphia 76ers are contributing heavily in this overtime effort. Julius Erving has 4 points. Isaiah Thomas 3, and Andrew Toney with a basket. 141-136. Gervin blocked by Toney. 2-on-1. Thomas and Toney. And a foul. Basket counts.
They're going playing aggressive defense, this East team, making it pay off. Happy East bench. Andrew Toney, before that play, not doing what you'd call a Toney-like.
The last 2, and now it's a 144-136 game. The East is leading, but 2:25 to go. We're in overtime.
And as we saw in regulation, anything can happen with a few minutes to go in an all-star game.
Vandeweghe guarded by Erving in his head time. There's the West bench, a little more solemn.
Yes.
Parrish looking down court. He's got Toney. Here's Andrew. Andrew Toney.
That was a super outlet pass by Robert Parrish and a great reception by Toney.
He's got 7 in overtime. And the West comes right back with George Gervin. But it's 146 to 138 and under 2 minutes to go, as you see. Most points in the history of the All-Star game. 2 teams. You're seeing it right here. Julius Erving adds 2 more.
You turn a guy like Dr. J loose in an All-Star game because there's really no team defense again. Double teams, win the double team. That turns him virtually loose one-on-one.
10-point lead. Cut to 8 is Kareem with 25 in the ball game. Makes it 8 points now. 148 to 140, the highest scoring All-Star game in history today here in Denver.
Well, where else should it happen but in Denver? The Nuggets, one of the high-powered offensive teams. They love high-powered scoring basketball here.
Well, K.C. Jones may be on his way to another All-Star victory. Maybe. Let's see what Frank Layden has to say about it when we come back.
Think win. We still think win, okay? But we have to steal it. We got to do a great job to do it, all right?
Going into a denial defense.
One thing that Frank Layden said just before we came back, he said, I'd rather lose by 2 than by 8.
Means that he wants to go out there and he's going to play tough defense. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them deny. And it'll be up to the red jersey team to go out there and reverse cut and find men going to the hoop against this real strong defense.
And to those fans who are tuning in who are saying, what is NBA basketball about? Deny means, of course,
that you get out in the passing lanes and play aggressive defense.
For the East, Andrew Toney and Julius Erving have scored 13 of their 16 points in overtime. The Philadelphia connection in this case, 1:11 to go, an 8-point lead. The West needs baskets, good defense, and breaks. There's one. And here comes Magic. Still enough time. Down by 8. Vandeweghe inside. Johnson. Magic Johnson on the follow-up. Under a minute to play. And a 6-point lead for the East. Double team Bird. And a foul. Vandeweghe and Johnson all over Larry Bird, and a foul. And that's not a bad move.
Well, they're going to have to do it with good defense, the West. If they could have made a steal, so much the better. But if not, go foul. The East will have to take the ball out of bounds.
Second team foul or third team foul on the West. One more and they're in the penalty. In the overtime. We're in the overtime period with 45 seconds. 16 on the shot clock. 6-point lead for the East. Knocked away into Bird's hand. Parrish. Inside, Thomas. Isaiah Thomas got it. A big basket for the East.
Boy, and he put it up there among the lumber.
21 points in the second half. Johnson for 3. A 3-pointer for Magic Johnson. Coming right back. Parrish, the other end. And doesn't he run Kareem in the regular season, Parrish?
Every single time he can, Dick.
Magic for 3. No. Bird. 20 seconds to go. And the East is going to win this one. 5 in a row. Toney.
Well, that's some great individual play. Isaiah Thomas, Dr. J, Lambeer.
And I'll tell you something. We have a million heroes in this game, and you're looking at one right now, Isaiah Thomas, who is a brilliant player. Isaiah Thomas is our most valuable player of this All-Star game. The final score here in Denver, Colorado, the East 154, the West 145, and Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, who scored 21 second half and overtime points and 15 assists, is our MVP.
And well-deserved. He created an awful lot of action for this team with his penetration and also hit some outstanding shots, outside shots, to help keep the middle open for the big guys of the East. So a very dejected Magic Johnson.
Our thanks to Marty Aronoff, and thank you, Tom Heinsohn. This is Dick Stockton for Tom Heinsohn and Pat O'Brien saying so long from McNichols Arena. The final score, the East 154, the West 145. Don't forget to join us 2 weeks from today, 3:30 Eastern. One of sports' great rivalries continues as the Philadelphia 76ers battle the Boston Celtics. Coming up next, though, at CBS Sports Sunday, featuring the WBC Super Lightweight bout between Bruce Curry and Billy Costello. Coverage of the National Basketball Association has been a presentation of CBS Sports.